It's Doc Mack here from the Galloping Ghost Arcade.
Hey everybody, this is Doc Mack from the Galloping Ghost Arcade out in Brookfield, Illinois. Today is it's Saturday, September 24th, 2016, and we are here doing a video podcast today with, we're joined here as always by former Gamer of the Year, Pete Hahn.
I'm sitting off camera here.
He is off camera.
Yay!
I'm just being a ghost.
From there you go. From Prince Arcades, Jeremy Fox.
Hello.
And local video game player Tim Foley.
Hello, everybody. How are you tonight?
Sounds very sinister.
We're in the Ghost Lord's lair right now.
Yes.
The
pretty
GGP
scary.
offices.
Currently,
Yeah.
for now, for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Before the next.
Screaming coming from the other room.
Yeah, there's some souls trapped in here. But that's all.
The
I'm
soul
gonna say.
chamber.
So many that this will all be torn down soon.
Just to let them out.
Well, we need more room. So, today, I guess the topic of discussion, it's been an interesting one. We recently we brought something over from the vaults, which was a sit-down Star Rider released from Williams.
Is that a laser disc?
It
Yes,
is a
it is.
Laserdisc game.
Okay,
Outrageously rare.
it sounds like it.
Yeah.
I've seen in videos and stuff Star Rider, but I've never seen a
Quite
sit
the
down.
elaborate cabinet too.
It's
super
kind of
detailed.
picture Stun Runner, but giant plastic panels on it everywhere, and
Wow.
really awesome. We found one in really good condition, but it is Laserdisc.
Is it running the original Laserdisc or Dextered?
It is an original Laserdisc.
Okay.
Dexter doesn't even support it
Wow.
yet.
So that's crazy.
The disc actually has a crack in it, but the game still plays. The crack is it's not all the way through the disc, so one side
It's
is
the
bad.
surface, basically. It's not the
Wow.
actual data.
Yeah,
sheet
it's
that's in
up
there.
by the label,
Right. Okay.
so it plays. The problem is that the steering on it has this big steering wheel thing, and it's got a brake on one side and a turbo, and on the other side is a throttle,
Like a motorcycle throw?
a motorcycle handle throttle.
Okay.
The first one we got, it had the handle just spun all the way around, and there's four optos in there that
Four.
as the handle turns, it's supposed to return to center, like it's supposed to return back, like automatically. So you
I'd
can just
assume like a real motorcycle.
Yeah.
I don't ride motorcycles, but I'd assume that's how it is.
as you let the pressure off, it goes back.
Yeah. Or if you let go, it'll just go back to supposedly.
Supposedly,
That's what it's supposed to do. Okay.
the handles are molded plastic, and whatever was making it return on the original one was broken, so it just spun. Two of the optos were broken, and there was an extra set of handlebars on eBay that we had shipped
Weird.
in.
Okay.
Just was in better condition. All four optos are in there and they work. We put it in and it worked, but they're so fragile. Like the fact that one hadn't been broken, so it just spun all the way around. And if it makes a full rotation, it loses its centering and it doesn't play right. So like you'd get one good game out of it, and then as soon as you went through, it would never calibrate properly again until you reseated it. So the question at hand is, you can feel this handle it's like made of eggshells.
Huh.
So we have this super cool, rare game, but I don't honestly think it would last a day out on the arcade floor. It
Right.
wouldn't last a Saturday. So the question is what to do with some of these games that are so outrageously rare. Like, do you let people play them as long as you can? Do you try to find some way to fix them? Like, what would you
So there's no way to get that thing to work again once it's run past the center. Like you spin it past the center.
You
And,
can.
well, it's sealed, right?
It's sealed,
Yeah.
and it's molded sealed. So
Okay.
I don't know how you can't even tell without cutting the handle in half,
Okay.
and then figuring out a way to like re-glue it back together.
3D print a new one.
3D print a new one, but we don't even know at that point like what is going on inside of
Right.
there. Like the optos that they used on it were just typing the number in, and I'm sure they're fairly standard optos.
So it doesn't use a pot.
No.
Which is probably why they didn't make a lot of them and have them on location, I'd assume.
Yes.
With that and being a Laserdisc game.
Right. Well,
because if it was a pot, no big deal.
Right. Replacing a potentiometer, well, and even that, it's like it's coming up with games like Need for Speed and even Star Wars. Like the games that are potentiometer driven, they can only take so much abuse before the pots become like off-centered, and some games recalibrate every time. The good ones do, but plenty of them they don't, and it turns into like our Need for Speed at this point. The steering drifts to the left,
and it's got no feedback. Like we can't really accept scores on it because it's not playing the game properly, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's like these games that are so not self-destructive, but like the more you play them, they're gonna wear out and they're gonna break.
You must wonder how long it sat broken too, because of the condition of it. It's so nice.
For sure.
It's been sitting for years and years broken without anybody knowing how to fix it.
Well, it was a barn find. Like it was just sitting in a warehouse for a long time. The handle.
A barn.
Yeah, literally a barn. There's basically little teeth on the handle that move past, and they go from very, very small teeth up to like a quarter of an inch. That's like the big one is like a quarter of an inch.
Plastic gear.
Yeah. On the original one, like 3 of the teeth were sheared off, so it wouldn't play right anyway. And you could try gluing little plastic flecks back into place, but how long is that going to hold? And the question that I'd like to pose to you guys is like what we've always done at the arcade, like no matter how rare the game, we have Primal Rage 2 out there, we have Beavis and Butthead. Freeze, and that's a somewhat problematic board.
I know.
And it's like
how many times have we had a good run playing that game? And
but that's actually
it's a prototype. So
that's a prototype. Like that's the code. That's kind of like RC
squared, same thing. Yeah.
Where you'll be playing and eventually
there's something missing in the code. That's just
There's some sort of RAM leak in it probably, and it just eventually resets. What, as far as like, how do you handle that? And what are your guys like? There's the responsibility of the collector, like the preservationist side of me is like, oh, I can't put this out for it to be ruined.
Right. It's inevitable that, like you said, one weekend it's
one
get a couple
day.
Little kids on it and messing around trying to figure it out and it's broken.
Well, I think that it's the position you're in. Owning this arcade is tough because you want people to play everything. You want them to have the opportunity to play everything, etc. But the problem is the average Joe isn't going to realize this is a one-of-a-kind game, or they only made 5 of these, and they're just they're used to your Dave and Buster's or your whatever, where you just beat the heck out of games.
Doesn't matter.
And it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and those are the kind of players that, like, if something's not working right, they're going to beat it harder.
And again, that's not faulting the average Joe. I mean,
they just don't know better.
You just don't know. But then again, it's like it's a tough spot. I mean, I don't know a good answer to that actually.
Yeah.
I mean, as a preservationist, are you having a problem deciding?
Half of me, like, I want the whole purpose for the arcade, and it's always I want to share these games with people, and that's important to me. And it's kind of the game selection is. I've always said it's the one selfish side to the arcade where the games that are out on the floor are the games that I like and that I want to play. Star Rider is I'd never played it before, and it's something to experience. It's not the coolest game in the world, but
That's true.
sitting on it is like wow, this is cool. This there's something
Right.
to it. The Laserdisc, it's got a very it's like playing like the light cycles in Tron, where it's got this very blocky backgrounds going past, but they're these video backgrounds. They look very unique. It's a blend of sprites and video, and it looks really cool. And it's very simplistic. It's just a racing game. But I wanted to play it enough after seeing it, and after seeing the cabinet especially. It was like, what is going on with this thing? Like, it's been fun taking it all apart, and there's so many different facets that I've enjoyed just working on this thing, and it's still not 100% like it, but it's a super unique board set. And even still, it's Laserdisc. Like its
Right.
days are numbered in the fact that it's
Yeah.
just Laserdisc,
Yeah.
but on top of it,
Laser rod. It's going to the media is going to eventually itself is just going to fade away.
it's less about the discs and it's all about the players.
Players, yeah.
Like the Laserdisc players, no matter how well you maintain them, it's an inevitability. It's one of those things where they never lasted back then, and the fact that we have so many running now still, like it's it's a thing to keep them all going. Like we actually swapped out one or two of ours currently just because they were down for so long. We had to go to the Dexter route, and that was something that we fought for so long. But it's like there's just not enough players, and there's nobody
the choice
that has
is
the parts. It's like
have the games down forever or do the Dexter thing.
right,
Yeah.
and being
I
such
don't
a
disagree with that at all.
no, it was really my thought on that changed after working with the Sega System 24 boards. We got a game called Scramble Spirits, which the Sega System 24 boards ran off of the floppy diskette, and it would access the diskette every time it displayed the high scoreboard. So if you shut the power off while it was on that screen, just for one night, it everything lined up. The power got shut off while it was accessing the diskette, and it ruined the drive and the disk.
So it would like corrupt it or something.
Yeah.
It just
And
Crazy.
it was like we only have like it's a very specific diskette drive that it uses. You can't rebuild them. We are unable to copy the diskettes. You can't just copy the discs on a PC. So it's like, how can we get around this? And we still haven't even gotten around that. But that kind of changed my outlook of like, well, I wouldn't want to run a computer in Daphne for the Laserdisc games. I want it's got to be as original stock as possible. Like it's still accessing all the boards and everything. But it just seemed like Dexter, in lieu of the Laserdisc players, since they are starting to fail, it just seemed like a logical thing. But with a game like Star Rider, where it's the hardware itself, it's the actual physical controls. That's
where I would draw the line. That's like if someone can't touch it and play it without, a good chance of it not working again for the next person, then I'd say that's probably the point where it shouldn't be on the floor. Like if someone can play Primal Rage 2 and like, yeah, they can mess it up. They can spill something on it at MGC and it's still playable. That's the point where I'm like, yeah, people should be able to play that. But like when it gets to the point where like the wrong person touches this, it's not going to work. That's where I say no, it's too fragile.
well, from a my perspective is you've got a ton of games here.
Mm.
I mean, you're a tech, Seth's a tech. I'm sure Pete and all the rest do tech work, light tech work, whatever. Switches, buttons, all that, power supplies or something like that. But like, do you want to put that on the floor and be having to mess with that when you could maybe in the time span you're fixing that, fix like 5 other games if they have small problems? Like, you get what I'm saying?
Fully knowing that's going to be constant battle
Right. I mean,
all the time.
look what happened with Metal Gear with the
Sure.
glasses.
Sure.
I mean, and those are like unobtainium. Anium. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right?
Unobtainable?
Yeah, that's what I meant. And like, oh, okay. This guy just came from Brixie's.
I was
here,
just
and
in
he's smelling mine. But what I'm saying is like, it's ultimately it's your place. Is there going to be? Are you going to risk that game and the average Joe hopping on it?
Not even
breaking
knowing it's one of a kind.
Yeah,
They
not
could snap
knowing
it,
the
yeah.
rarity. I mean, let's be honest. There's different types of people that come here. Majority of the people are average Joes. They want to play
Sure.
your Pac-Mans and your Burger Times and whatever. And then you put Star Rider out, and yeah, it sounds like elaborate. It sounds cool looking. Somebody probably be like, "Oh, I'm gonna try this out," but that might be the one time that it's a goner, and then you got to
Or do you eventually have somewhat of a display case in a window somewhere where you actually...
I think that's the wrong answer. If someone's out there and they see it, they're going to want to play it. Like when we see someone coming in and they're like, "Oh, you can't play that." That's like teasing people,
Right.
But okay, and I know other arcade operators that have games that they won't turn on.
Like period.
Period. Yeah,
Oh,
they're
just there
they're
for-
there
Right,
for
I've heard of that.
they're
Just to look
there
at?
for them, and I don't know. It's like I understand it, but if they're out there, like Seth was here earlier, and I was talking to him about it, and he mentioned like, hey, maybe a VIP section, or have it roped off, and those are possibilities and interesting things. But like the problem with the VIP section is, one, if it's monitored all the time, then and literally whoever's playing it, like I've seen uh, almost every single one of our regulars at some point excessively rough on a machine.
Getting pissed off.
Get emotional or
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh, who, me?
Sure.
No, come on, Doc. Seriously. Hey. You know who you are out there, but it wasn't me. Because I'm not good enough to get pissed off at games. I just kind of, whatever, I suck.
Control.
But even the best of players, like,
Right.
and sometimes I've gone out on the floor. I've seen our Tron stick has been snapped in half, and it's like stuff just breaks.
Yeah.
It's like the wear and tear on a stick. It's a 30-year-old piece of plastic. It's gonna eventually break and give, and there's stress points on it, but it runs its course. But people enjoy that stuff, and it's like even the cabinets themselves. We haven't had. There's been 2 instances or 3 instances of somebody writing on cabinets. One was on Death Race.
Ooh.
Which
Really?
Pretty angry about that, and it
with a marker or what?
It was a marker. It came off 100%, and there's no trace of it. The other was on Monkey Ball, but that's the thing. It doesn't. And Monkey Ball's a fairly rare game, but not on the same scale as Death Race.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's like I was definitely more upset that it happened to Death Race because it's Death Race.
Did you catch the guy?
Somebody pretty awesome.
For sure. Did not catch him.
You would have gave him a death punch.
It was. But it turns into like, what's the balance? Like there's the more and more rare stuff that we add out there. It's all in harm's way. And we don't.
That's like the age-old question of like, should you drive a classic car? Like, you put it on the street, it's in harm's way. Some crazy guy is going to crash into you eventually.
Sure.
Park in the parking lot like
Yeah.
50 feet from anyone else. You know?
It's still going to get a bird's
Somebody
going
will
to
decide
come
they
down,
Really want to park next to you. You know, you're
Yeah.
parked. Yeah.
or you're going to get a bird that bombs it. You know, then it ruins the paint. Whatever. It's the same kind of thing. Once you put it out in harm's way, it's eventual.
What if you did a limited time thing?
Like, pull it from the floor, make it like an
you
event.
did, like for a limited time.
That's a good idea.
This is going to be on the floor.
I don't think it'll last a day. Like, I think it.
It could be an event. See how long it lasts. Whoever.
How long will it last?
Yeah, whoever gets closest to the bar, they get a prize.
Yeah.
First
Somebody
guy's gonna
walks
beat
in.
the shit out of it.
It's going to last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
After I'm the only one that's
Yeah.
ever played this. Yeah. But
Yeah.
it's one of those kind of with the floor. I've kind of resided myself to everything's going to get broken over there, and it doesn't matter how rare it is. We've always been able to fix it. There's nothing we haven't been able to fix.
This sounds like it's going to be one of the like an exception to that though, with the molded
Well,
handlebar things.
Yeah, it's not fixable. It's not fixable. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, my thing is too is like, okay, so right now you have 2 techs, and somebody comes in and they brought their whole family, and all they want to play is Burger Time, and for some reason there's a problem with it. Is it worth sacrificing tech time to work on Star Rider? As opposed, that's what I'm trying to say is like you know what people are playing, and I mean, is it worth putting Star Rider on the floor, having it break, and saying then you have to figure out, well, do I take the time to mess around with that, or do I take the time to fix some easy fixes, reseats,
But
all that type of repins, whatever.
into itself is such a different level because of, like, what am I fixing this with? Like, I don't have like
It could be just done.
Well,
it would take the time of a pair of original handles not working would have to be cut and opened. Like, we've 3D printed stuff. We could go that route. It would be the problem with doing that is if there's 20 machines out there and it's like, oh, hey, we fixed this problem and now we can help other machines. We can help other machines that are down. That would be kind of motivating to do it.
It's more worth it then.
If that's the case.
Yeah.
But talking with, I forget, somebody mentioned it not too long ago.
sorry.
And they're so problematic.
how many is there of that Star Rider?
I have no
Is
idea.
there nobody has one registered?
Is that like a
right?
special deluxe version of the game too? Was there like
Yeah,
another
there's
version
an
of it?
upright, and
Stand
we
up,
can we can jump on KLOV real quick over here.
I was pretty sure there was no arcades with that listed in it, right?
I would.
I would assume not. I mean, you have to check the apps. What did it say up there? 7? How many members?
There are 15 known instances. 12 of them are original dedicated.
Wow.
Um,
And that's on VAP, so you have to take that with a grain of salt. But because that's
Collectors.
and it's not. Sometimes it's not updated. Sometimes I've known people who sold all their games, but they still have them listed on VAPs. So,
sure,
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because it's actually a great tool.
for sure.
If you're getting into collecting,
Yeah.
besides calling Jeremy Fox at Prince Arcades
That's
There
right.
you go.
to hunt you down something, you can also
Ooh, I like how you threw that.
look on VAPs and see who's got what. So there's that.
But regardless of
Most
it's
of the time, they don't want to sell it though.
the collectors often
They just
none
wanna
of these are marked for sale.
Yeah, a lot of people they just want to say I have it and you can't have it.
Right.
That's
Sure.
part of listing it up there.
Everything's for sale, I think.
There's
That's true too.
few that say they're board only.
Is there one in Illinois right now, local?
No.
Okay.
Oh,
Doc.
Oh.
McLean says they have.
Vector Manor.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
John Yates.
John Yates.
Yeah. Shout outs to John Yates.
Shout outs to John Yates.
Is that a cockpit?
He says
Is there like 4 of them?
he could. No, he only has the upright standard.
He doesn't even have the good one.
Ooh.
It does use the same controller though.
Really?
Yeah. But it's the exact same thing with games like Blaster, where that stick is so unique. I know of one for sale. The stick housing, not the stick, the molded plastic is $450. And
I'll get it if someone needs it. I mean, that if you need it.
Yeah.
You know?
like we put Blaster out.
Mhm.
Like $450 is a fair amount of cash. Is it worth, like, do you then have to start questioning, like, why do we have a wooden blaster out on the floor?
It's not even the Duramold. Yeah.
Risk reward is what you're, I guess.
And I was offered stupid, I mean, like new car money for that thing.
Yeah.
But I was like, it's going to Galloping Ghost. That's where it's going. Yeah, nobody has that wood one.
But that was one of my original. That was what started me thinking about this. It's like there's some stuff like again, all the incredibly rare one of ones, RC squared, International Team Laser. You never know what's going to happen with things, and like when we got International Team Laser, the board was completely trashed because when they were moving it, the monitor fell in, tore everything off the board.
Really?
And it was there's so many things that can happen. Like Pete, you had mentioned the incident with Primal
Yep.
Rage 2.
An unfortunate incident.
Beer or whatever.
Yeah.
That NPC.
It ends up being like everything is always a risk, but what's the good solution? Like if so what do you say definitively with Star Rider? Should it go on the floor or should it be playable?
I don't really think so. With the present situation with the space. Okay, maybe I shouldn't bring that. Say you had unlimited space. If you had unlimited space, I think that the risk isn't that great because the risk is the reward isn't that great. I'm saying in general, you might get 5 or 10 people in a year, maybe, that know Star Rider. It's a rare game.
Right.
It wasn't all over the place. People aren't, and there might be 10 people that come in and say, "Oh my God, Star Rider, this is awesome." But all it takes is for one average Joe person to come in and be like, "Oh, this looks cool." Crank on it, break it, and you want them to discover that game and be like, "Wow, this is awesome." As a collector and an enthusiast, you want people to discover these games and just be like, "This is awesome." But in the end, guy breaks it, he hops off, he never thinks about Star Rider again. I mean, the average Joe.
But isn't there? What about Blaster?
I mean, you have to be observant. Are average people walking up and playing it?
The average people, though, they play everything, and the same thing that you said, where the average person won't recognize 90% of the games over there. Like there's so many imports and rare prototypes, and they're all like that.
Right.
None of they don't have the same fragileness in a lot of instances, but like, would you then become concerned about like the boards themselves? Like a game like Cyvern or like Dodon Patchy. Those boards from Cave, they're rare boards.
Yeah, I've heard.
Super expensive. They use anything that uses a custom processor. You just found out with a Truxton.
Yeah.
which is
Did
it's
it
not.
die?
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Just one day.
What happened?
One
No,
day
I
went-
sold it to a guy who was a very awesome guy in Chicago. I took it out to him. It was funny because we were playing at the carnival the night before,
Right.
and 3 of us were playing it. We were competing on scores, which of course I lost.
Really?
But it was,
So you broke
I
the
really
board.
did. But it was working.
Snapped it like a
perfect.
twig.
I took it out there, and now everything's. There's one little box near the top that the whole picture of the thing is in. He had Doug look at it. Said it's unfixable.
It's the custom processors.
Right.
Yeah.
And once a custom processor goes bad, and there's a lot of games that have that same situation.
Capcom had a lot of that. Am I right? Or
Theirs
theirs was
Capcom-
just suicide batteries. Usually.
Well, suicide batteries, there's a fix around that. There's still custom chips. Games like Turkey Shoot, there's 2 special ROMs on there that are excessively difficult to get.
Right.
Even games like Tempest, like any XY game, like you're running monitors that are how many replacement XY monitors can you get?
Oh, yeah.
Narc. Look at Narc.
Yeah.
Like-
And the price of Narc is starting to go crazy now.
Sure.
And I think it has to do with a lot of people with these medium res monitors going, because that's what Paperboy uses medium res.
Gauntlet Dark Legacy.
Sprint.
Yeah, but that's a 27,
27, yeah, that's true.
25 inch. So those are more easy to find. But
Yeah.
the 19-inch medium res,
More rare.
and
But it's like what's that cutoff point where it's a board versus a monitor versus
I know what the cutoff is for me.
what's that?
If the average Joe can put their hands on it, they can't put their hands on a board when it's on the floor, but they can put their hands on the handle, snap it, and then make it unplayable. That's where I would draw the line.
Well, you had a digital monitor in NARC for a really long time before you got rid of all the digitals.
But that bothered me, and I could never. That
'cause
was
that's
always
that's his game, right?
No,
there.
I
He
know,
loves that
I
shit.
know. And then
Stuff.
but at the
Family
same
family.
time, when will this expire?
Well,
Will people actually run out of medium res monitors?
that's
Yeah, it's
I mean,
happening.
Can it
tubes
happen?
will eventually go back.
Will it be in our lifetime? I mean, we were talking about that earlier today. Actually, the popularity keeps growing for the whole sport, so it's kind of more people are wanting this stuff. Whereas 10 years ago,
Yeah, right.
people could walk
Yeah,
by a
we've
warehouse
talked about
and say
it, too.
whatever,
With prices before
Right.
too, me and you.
Right.
Well,
I mean, even from when I've been dealing with you for 5 years, 6 years, or
Yeah.
whatever. When I first got into the hobby, and I mean, even the difference in prices that we used to deal with and
Absolutely.
now, and it's I could see it all over the board. I mean, I talk with Mike Beal. We were talking about
Sure.
the prices right now, and prices are just all over the place, and it's just, I mean, that's
Well,
what it is.
And we found ourselves in the past year, maybe year and a half, paying a lot more for games than we were 3
Right.
years ago.
I think it's
A
the same
lot
thing
more.
with like console games. It's the same thing as happening with like NES games. Like people are realizing, hey, I like this stuff. I grew up with it, and I want to have it again. It's the exact. I think it's happening.
I
here.
have disposable income.
Yeah.
I want. Yeah.
Now you're 40, you
Yeah.
have a full-time job and a house and a career, and
Right.
It
you
does.
can afford to buy that
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
The price will get to the point where only the serious players can afford to have specific things. But it's almost already like that with so many games now.
True.
Like the prototype games and stuff like it's the funniest thing. Like I've seen 2-star riders, like they just amongst the collectors, they just trade hands for free because they're just broken and they get shuffled around. But it's like, what are the working parts in there? And if this is like a nice, it will be a fully working specimen of this game. And it's like, what
Do you put it on the floor? is
right?
what it is.
It's the what is it
Or is it in
preservation
a big
with
plexi case with a plaque on the front describing what it is
Yeah.
and why it's in there?
Well, I had brought this up to Doc before.
Come see the giant.
You know, I go. This place is really reaching museum like status, in my opinion. Maybe not for the average Joe, but for collectors and non-collectors and stuff like that who realize the importance of the coin-op games. And I know you've said in the past, you know, I don't want this to be a museum. I want people to play and have fun. But you know, it's like, is it worth it to have that on the floor as a business owner? Like, do you think
yeah, the
there's
amount of
going to
people.
be are there going to be people traveling, which do here from across the country, to come play Gallop and Go certain games?
It happens, yeah. People come
No,
like,
A lot, which is
Yeah.
funny, right?
Absolutely, from all over the world they come.
But will they come for Star Ride?
Will they come for Star Ride?
exactly.
Well, now
In your opinion,
here's the thing, though. It can either go away in to a collector. Like, honestly, I don't want to have. And Seth said, and he knew the answer to this. He's like, "Oh, just put it in your personal collection." And it's like, the floor is my personal collection.
yeah.
And
How many do you have at home?
right,
Yeah,
none.
this is
I
your
have
personal
0.
collection, yeah.
It's for me, if it's not out there playing, I can't keep it. Which will mean it has to be.
Makes
I'll
sense.
sell it to some collector who that'll be.
I'll give you $500 for it right now. Is that
It'll
what's
be
going on?
in the Foley personal collection.
That's the starting bid.
I'll trade you.
But
What do you want?
the problem is, like,
2 nards.
We'll take that pit fighter board.
Yeah. $15 pit fighter.
how
Sounds-
how
That's
many-
a good
sounds
board.
legit.
That's a
however
good
many people come and do play it, is it worth putting that out there? Because how many games did each one of you go play in an arcade once and it stuck with you and it was just gone?
Never.
But you always had that in your head, like, wow, I remember this game 20 years ago. It was in this arcade. I hear it every time we go over to the arcade.
Sure.
Somebody's trying to describe some vague memory of some game.
Yep.
There was this cowboy and it was like a hologram, or you were playing a cartoon, or it was live actors, and it's like
And the details they remember about it is
It's pretty, yeah, it's cool.
extensive.
right.
Usually pretty good.
To me, there's games that have to get pulled off the floor. We've pulled games like Tokyo Wars, a really cool tank game from Namco, but the thing was just was huge and super problematic, and we had to get rid of it.
Arm champs.
Arm champs.
Champs. It
Did
was
you
like,
get rid of it, or is it just not here?
no, that we sold.
Okay.
Arm Champs is down at storage, but it's like Arm Champs when we got it, and that's not very different than this. It spent a long time out on the floor. It made a lot of people happy. It hurt a lot of people.
There was people
But-
going to the hospital.
Yeah.
That's the only game that I ever set a record on.
You were the first person to get the max score, right?
He ate his Wheaties that day.
Now it's gone.
So
Your
But
record lives
it's-
in infamy, though.
It killed me to see that handle. The handle went from being
Perfectly straight.
perfectly straight to being loose
To being basically
Yeah.
to
sideways.
being like, yeah, and then ripped out of the wood.
It's like a socket that it's not in
Yeah,
anymore. Yeah.
And that's a game
it's-
that you're supposed to hold onto that as hard as you physically can. Too.
Right.
Right. And
Like,
there
you
were
can't fault anyone for that. Like it's expired.
Yeah.
You know?
But
Pretty
how
much.
many people did you see playing Arm Champs, and how many times would there be a crowd around it, and how many people?
Always.
Often.
There were
People ask
always
about it.
pictures on Facebook of people doing it,
Yeah.
and happy with their accomplishments, and that's a whole nother part of the arcade scene. But that it's not irrevocably broken at this point. I can still fix it, but it pushed me to the point where somebody had actually spun the collar on the button must have loosened, and people spun the button,
And
the
I'll take it
start
off.
button, until the wires wound up and broke off. And they've done that to Star Wars, and it's like things get broken all the time here. Arctic Thunder, bad
all
bad
the
game
time.
design.
That's steering, right?
Yeah, and we had to get rid of it. But again, so many people enjoyed it. But this is like a super obscure one. Do we put it out there to endure it?
Do you think this would be bad if you identified your rare games, your Beavis and Butthead and stuff like that, on some sort of pamphlet up at the counter, a sheet, like it's a
To what end, though?
it's a dual purpose. Say like you could just list like Primal Rage 2,
Freeze.
one of whatever
Yeah.
rare game, like so people would be like, oh wow, I want to play this. I mean, would that be
That's a good idea.
where people would be like, because honestly, unless you follow on social media or kind of in the know, so to speak, I mean, you guys gotten press on Kotaku and various gamer sites, but a normal person, are they going to know that this Beavis and Butthead is one of maybe seven that exist or whatever?
But
They're not.
at
No.
that point, are you like, you look at the signage that we have at the arcade and
There's-
how little it gets read?
How little
Are
it gets
you-
through, yeah.
Are
But-
you at that point? Are you not just saying like, here's the rare stuff and sending people that, well, you can say, hey, be gentle on this. We now say that in every person that comes through the door. We're like, hey, there's a lot of classics here. Please be gentle. Have some respect for what you're playing. Most of the people do. But if you make that list, like,
Are you
people,
pointing out stuff for people to go, I'm going to go beat the shit out of this?
right,
Or I'm going to go right on it with marker.
It's like
or-
you see
Right.
a no dumping sign. There's always piles of crap on it.
Yeah.
right. Like, are you then not just pointing it out and funneling people
Well,
directly
Showing
to
no
it?
weakness.
But then again, isn't that the point of having the rare stuff and wanting people to play it, funneling
Well,
people and saying
not-
like, look,
We don't want people to play stuff just because it's rare. And you can see that, like, the average people that they'll walk in. It was one of those funny things to me back when we had the console cabinet.
Yes. I
You
know
would
exactly what you're going to
have
say.
the 4 original Mortal Kombats, both
That's
KIs,
funny.
or you'd have the MK9, MK10. Then you'd have Primal
virtual
Rage,
console cabs.
Yeah.
virtual console CADs.
Yeah.
And then you'd have Primal Rage 2 sitting there. And the only thing that was being played was MKX.
Yeah.
Or Injustice. And it's like, I wanted to be like, two steps down is a game that you cannot play anywhere, and you're playing a game that you have at home.
Well,
Yep.
wouldn't it be beneficial
It would be.
to just even put on top like prototype
Like
or
a little
whatever,
placard-
so
a little placard on it?
people
Yeah.
kind of go
Sure.
like, oh wow, like this is that, and they'll take pictures and they'll post on whatever, like, hey, I just
Sure.
played this game. They didn't, but I understand too. You don't want to
Says
At the
Jeremy's
same
give
falling
time-
asleep.
people an accomplishment to try and mess it up.
We
I
were
think-
looking at on our arcade list. We have
7, right?
126 games that were the only arcade with them.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
That's a lot of games.
Right.
There's
That's what most arcades have. Period.
If-
If they're lucky.
If they're lucky,
Yeah, right.
there's anything over 100. To have 100, more than 100 that are exclusive to play here. Like, when you start seeing, if you started seeing all those and how many, this is the only one of this, and this is, it almost,
What if there's a section?
Yeah, it has to be a well-monitored section, either right by
Section.
the register.
but
So we can
we're not
monitor
even
it?
equipped to do that.
Yeah.
Like, you're talking on bringing an entirely new, like,
When we expand.
we've been looking for R360.
Yeah.
And that is a holy grail cabinet of mine.
That's a game on the Xbox 360, right? No. Sorry.
And we'll have one eventually.
You need a whole room for the 360.
Is that a motion?
It's like a cage thing.
It's a
It's
giant ball that you.
You sit and it's a gyroscope.
You're like a
that
hamster in there.
spins, and
it's
it,
huge.
Is that just like one of the roller coaster things they have at the mall? Like
No,
like,
it's
not a virtual
Oh, it's
No,
pretty-
no.
experience. It's
It's-
actual game.
afterburner.
Okay.
But when you do a barrel roll, you barrel roll. And when you do a loop to loop, you go all the way around.
Wow.
And any angles you go on, you're spinning. And full 360 motion.
You should look that up. It's pretty.
Yeah,
Pretty awesome.
It's amazing.
Pretty awesome.
It was
Some guy in England was selling one recently, right? Or had one
Spain.
recently? Or Spain, yeah.
I was in a
somewhere
bidding war for one in Spain,
Okay.
Must have been that.
and I just missed it. And one popped up on eBay that I just missed, and just unfortunate. But we'll eventually get one. But it is the big brother to Galaxy Force, which is
Very big brother.
the very big brother. Picture twice as much space. And if anybody's going to play it, you pretty much have to be. It has an attendance. It has an attendance station. The camera wouldn't see it.
Does but
Oh,
do you guys have? Are you guys able to work on that?
Well, it's like Galaxy Force. There's 2 motor boards, an I/O board, and a 4th communications board. And
I'm talking not board wise. I'm talking about whatever uses hydraulics or mechanically.
Oh, yeah,
a ton of sensors.
You guys are
sure, why not?
Hey, I'm not. I'm just saying. It's. But is working on that as an owner more important than working on a standard?
Well,
That
here's
standard,
the thing.
I mean-
It's the standard stuff is the diversity of working on that stuff. The standard stuff, me and Seth, and we fix that stuff all day.
Right.
We fix all of them often.
Yeah.
We're to the point where, like, I buy games just because I want to see the new hardware. I want to see, like, Turkey Shoot became such, like, I gotta have that because I've never worked on that board set. I'm like, how do those feathers fly around the screen? I want to figure that out. I want to see
That is
it.
pretty awesome.
Yeah. I know one who might be selling one.
A Turkey Shoot?
Yeah.
I got.
Okay.
I know somebody looking for one.
Let me know. Know about that.
But it's one of those, the hardware side for me. I love working on the obscure stuff. The harder, like Doug Fox, who is an outrageous tech. He's worked 35 years. He's fixed thousands and thousands of games. He came in working with us. He's like, oh, I've not seen the board that I haven't been able to fix. And now it's like, man, you've given me a bunch of boards that I just can't do it because there's all this custom stuff, and it doesn't deter him. He's like, it's the same thing. It's like, from a tech standpoint, that's the fun stuff to work at. It's like, how are we going to fix this when there's no parts for it? What's the workaround that we can come up with? And this is an odd. Star Rider's an odd one because we would literally have to destroy original parts
To find out how it works.
Yeah.
But if it's broken already, you have no choice.
Right.
As the current handlebars or
Right.
throttle is.
Right.
So there's nobody who's done any videos or documentation about a repair log. On these.
Not for that, no. Not that I've been able to
See,
find.
that's also you also have an opportunity.
You're the trailblazer.
From a collector's standpoint, because this is your collection ultimately.
Sure.
Of helping, being the only source of information on how to fix this.
Sure.
And there might be 20, 30 other Star Riders there where people are like, oh, dude, that's all it is? I'm going to go in there, and then you could bring it to the... Yeah, so...
Looks like you're making a manual.
Right. Well... A video, whatever. If you learn how it ticks, you have an opportunity to provide a service, to other people out there who are like, holy shit, like Doc
beep.
fixed this, and here's
Little
sorry
later on
about that. Censor.
The
Are you guys putting me on a delay next time I'm out here?
7
No,
seconds.
that's fine. I have the channel marked mature audiences.
But and it's like the Beavis and Butthead, like that was something that we figured out here.
Mhm.
There's only 12 of them out there, and some of them suffered from the same problem. And we shared that information. And
Right.
it was something that was an expensive game to get. It had a big draw. Will it fail again? Oh yeah, it will. It's a matter of time. Like it's an internal hardware, but it being turned on every day will eventually break it. And it's not so much a matter of the customers doing it. It just
It's
happens.
just a failure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
I think those are the failures I'm okay with when it's just naturally progressing,
Right.
not someone abusing.
the cabinet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and that goes to like what is the soul of the machine
Mhm.
ultimately? You know, is it the boards? Is it the controls? Is it the whole thing? You know, not to get all
That in a sense is
Christine.
The analogy I would draw is like it's like driving, like going back to the car thing. Like it'd be okay if like when you're driving a car, if you have to change the radiator because then eventually it's going to start leaking. But
I've always
eventually,
thought about that too with
Yeah.
cars. That's
like
what about the engine? What if you have to change the
if you have to change the engine, then that's like kind of the soul of the car. I mean, you can say that. I mean, yeah, eventually that's going to go as well. So the choices are not drive it and preserve the engine, or drive it and replace all these systems.
right.
What about the frame?
I mean, that's part of it as well. Like the paint, everything that goes into it. Like when you're dealing with a game, I think it's very comparable to a car. There's all these subsystems
Yeah.
on systems, and then once you get down to the bare bones of it, like you have to decide, like, do I want to drive this car and let I want to you can open it up if it's a fast car, you get to enjoy it, or I can let it sit in the garage, keep the beast behind a cage, but it's no one's going to enjoy it. I can't it's going to sit there and
It'll
then
never be enjoyed by anybody.
exactly no one will enjoy it. And then I think that part of it's wrong. I think it should be enjoyed and fix what you can about it and get the enjoyment you can out of it.
So if your 70-something Chevy blows the engine, it's unfixable. Do you buy a 350 that was made 2 years ago to put in it, or is that like putting a 60 in one in a classic cabinet?
Right. That's the big question there.
That's a very good argument.
Yeah. Well, and as a collector, literally I had both scenarios with two of my cars happen.
Yeah.
I had a 77 Trans Am that I had for 20 years. The frame rusted away, and I replaced it. And same engine, same panels, everything was transferred over to this different frame. And it's not the same car to me. It's not the same.
I'm sure it physically feels different too. I mean,
it does.
Yeah.
To you.
Sure.
Mhm.
But how many times have you come to me and been like, "Hey, let's recreate this cabinet." Like,
Well,
let me
Wacko.
make you like Wacko.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, let's
The
make an
slant and everything.
exact. And we have. I just repaired. What was it? We just got a cabinet that was just atrocious.
The one with the
Oh,
bottom of those.
Domino Man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was in 5 pieces.
It was some parts of a wood box,
Yes.
and it was like, I can't not let this go on the floor. This has to be like, I'll replace the bottom panel,
Yeah.
and I'll build an interior shell to make the outside stand upright.
Yeah, because the dominoes go over the outside anyway.
Yeah.
No, I kept that front panel. That terrible front panel is
Really?
still there.
But it's original.
It's an original.
It
We have not one replacement cabinet over there. Everything out there is an original cabinet. Literally, the Domino Man cabinet was so falling apart, we had to store it upside down.
to not put stress on it on the bottom.
No, there was no bottom to stand it on. It
He
was
was holding Doc by his feet just to test it.
literally, we made a new bottom, and there's like a
Like
a
braces.
frame inside. And this week I have done 3 more cabinets like that, and it preserves the original artwork. And the bottoms are ugly, and there's reproduction artwork out there. We could make beautiful, pristine cabinets, but
Well, you've done that. I mean, before, and I'd assume it's just a personal goal. Is Alien Syndrome. I was here when you put Alien Syndrome artwork on, and you're just like, well, I just put new Alien Syndrome artwork on, back in the lineup.
Yeah.
Nobody except you and probably me, because I just happened to be there when you were putting it on,
Yeah.
noticed that's awesome.
Yeah.
Same with
You
the
know?
alien on the top. Like 5 people in the world know what that
Yeah,
alien,
sure.
the original
Right.
alien on the
That's
top
so
is cool.
isn't it?
Yeah.
That's so
and
cool.
it's like, so it's you, man. I mean,
Yeah.
it's you. It's your place, and it's just like, you know,
Risk versus reward.
yeah. And
Yeah.
if you got the means and if you got the time, or just you're just like, dude, that's really bothering me. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna fix that. I'm gonna get a topper for that. I'm gonna do whatever. Just do it.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Sure.
In the end,
Sure.
you know, I mean, 99% of the people aren't gonna know, but you're gonna know. Maybe a few collectors are gonna know.
So you're saying on your old car that you had to have the frame rebuilt on.
I had to have the frame Well, I
you
had,
had
a,
all
It
your
blows my mind.
You had everything
blows my
torn
mind.
off that car and put onto a new frame. Is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
and
It
it,
was totally rotten. So like basically, yeah. Here's
Transplant.
Everything.
Yeah. People do that with every. I mean, people like move their houses to a new place when they like want to keep the same house. It happens.
So by that rationale, you'd be like, it's not on the same lot.
Right.
Why did you do that though?
No choice.
Right. It was undrivable.
Well, you could have,
Back end was rubbing on the ground.
but you could have said, "Hey,
It was-
project,
It
Uh,
was
project TA, and here's what's going on with it."
there.
Boom.
Every place I took it to was, you need a new frame.
Right, but still, you could have ultimately made that decision to just say, "Well,
It's been
it's
great.
been good, but
Yeah.
somebody else could do this." Just like with the games, just like Domino Man, you could have said, "You know what?"
I don't know enough about cars to be.
Right,
Re-
but
But it's the
it-
same thing.
it's the same thing.
Sure.
What makes Dexter okay? What makes Daphne okay?
I don't think Daphne's all right.
And a 620 not okay?
'Cause, well, you know
I
what it is?
Some of the emulations.
Because the
are crappy.
620 was never came in that car originally. That's why. That's what people would say.
Are you
Right?
talking about a multi-cart or an engine?
I'm talking about a multi-car.
I know.
What
You
makes
just said something about a car, and I'm like,
that would be lifted off the ground.
yeah, I'm like, yeah,
620.
because I don't know stuff about that. You know, I know how to put gas in it.
But J Rock's okay. The guy that made the
To some people,
Miss
again-
Pac-Man multi-car is okay.
Clay, whatever. Yeah.
See, yeah, I mean,
Because deemed by society or the gaming committee or
Well,
the,
and I-
the honored elders.
elder gods.
this thing is okay that someone came out with, but this one's not.
Yeah.
Who determines that?
It depends.
Right?
It depends on who's buying it, who wants it. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Sure.
like, dude, like majority of people with the J Rock are like,
It plays exactly the same.
yeah, and I'm not going to spend the money on a $400 Joust board or
That will
whatever
fail.
they're going
That will
for
fail.
now.
Will fail.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But again, some people are quick to say though, this is a J Rock. You know, it's they're not trying to pass it off as
Sure, they're
Doc
not.
could put a J Rock out there, and probably like maybe Lonnie McDonald or Jason Lacko would probably maybe know the difference if there was one, which probably not. But
Well, then there's
it's
the new Hubert, the Gottlieb multi
Mouse,
that's out. You know.
Mouse
So
board.
there's-
what makes that okay, and who wrote that?
Well, it's the difference of an emulator that is like the 60-in-1 boards. You're using one piece of hardware to emulate 10 different pieces of hardware.
Right. The J-Rock is cloning the original hardware on an FPGA chip.
Yeah.
So that's totally different.
It's running very closer. It's running virtually, and it's the same thing with, like, they're just running the exact same. They're designed to be, you can't tell the difference between them. The 60-in-1s, where it started,
software.
it was just
Yeah.
kind of like, hey, here's a bunch of games on a board, and they're all vertical games, and it didn't.
And
It
they've
did them
improved
pretty
that board
close.
2 or 3 times. When they first came out, they were pretty.
You heard they were shoddy. Yeah.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
They're on like the 4th version now, and I've noticed bugs that have gone away in the new stuff you buy.
But there's a
that were on
difference
before.
between like the collectors that have limited space. There's a difference between just the general consumer that, hey, I want to play 60 arcade games and I'm gonna go buy an arcade.
Right, they're in an apartment, or they got
Or
one
we
little
could,
area in their house.
you could go deeper into this even with
Sure.
the name. I mean,
Sure.
it's been beat to death on the different
Sure.
podcasts, and it will be for probably all time. Like,
But how many purists play MAME, dude?
exactly.
All of them.
Yeah, pretty much all of them. A lot of them practice
All
on
do.
it. Like you'll talk to a lot of guys that they'll play in arcades, but they practice on MAME.
Yeah. So what is that person? It's really hard to explain, but like, again, where is the soul of the machine? Is it just a game? Is it just the actual game you're playing, or is it the experience of the arcade, like, of the machine, of this cabinet, of this artwork, of this stick is kind of messed up, but it still plays. Like, that's why, like, a lot of people, like the high score dudes, a lot of times will be like, oh, this has got to this stick's got to get tightened up, or this, and it's like, well, this is like a field here, like a baseball field or a NASCAR track. I'm a race fan, so every racetrack is different. It's weathered differently. You're all racing cars. Everything's weathered differently, and that's here. Like, you're playing on this field here.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's like, no, dude, you play how everybody else is going to have to play here.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
that's kind of like baseball. Like some are AstroTurf, some are grass, some have bigger right field and left field.
Yeah,
it's the same thing.
And what is important to you? What's important to you with Star Rider? Let's get back to Star Rider. What
is it more important that people play the game, or is it more important to be preserved?
Yeah,
that is the big problem. It's
That's
like I am.
I'm
so.
The bottom line.
You want to flip a coin?
I'm 50-50 with
flip
it.
right
like,
now.
Nothing hurts me worse than having to pull a game off the floor. And it's like, do you let the handful of people enjoy it until it ultimately gets destroyed?
And you can't sell it, because if another one comes along, maybe with a rotten bottom side to it or something, you can use parts off it, right? You can't get rid of it, because as soon as you do, 2 weeks later, you find another one for parts. That's how it always goes.
You're gonna see a spare handlebar on eBay.
If I have it to be part of my collection, it's got to be out there playing. Like, I wouldn't keep it. I like Arm Champs. If it gets to the point where once the next expansion happens, we'll probably fix it. If we can come up with a solution to where it's infallible, then it can return. If we can't, it's got to go, because it's got to be out there playing. And again, we could take the time to come up with some solution. Like, we've 3D printed parts, we've done all this, but it's just.
But then again, if you're going to be replacing parts with 3D parts, is that
not original? Is that lost the soul?
Is that kind of like? Well,
is that a J-Rock?
How far does it go for you?
For me, it goes to where if we.
Where does the soul get lost?
The cabinet, it's got to be original.
No, it's good.
That's good. That's the heart of it.
How much do you replace that before you're like, I replaced like everything on this with like repro stuff or whatever, which is awesome for the collector. But like, at what point are you going to be like,
okay, and each instance, it's kind of like I have my set rules for how I maintain the collection. Original hardware.
And this is most important. Am I right, or is this just a general ranking?
This is just general ranking. It's things
not
that
one through.
Right.
Yeah,
it's not.
Like
it's
most
not
important. Okay.
Like, there's, for example, like the.
Like, you're okay when like the actual, like, the board is the same, but you have to burn new EEPROM. Some guys aren't even okay with that.
For sure.
Yeah.
It comes down to, like, I am all right with that, and that took a lot of.
It seemed like it took a while for you to get past that.
It did.
Yeah.
It did. It was like it happened.
What game pushed you over the edge?
Sonic.
Okay.
Sega Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh, yeah.
It was on the.
Well, good luck getting another one of those boards, right?
System 32. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Sega's board. I had the original board. The main board failed. and the ROM board was fine. Like that board, it's a $2,000 board at this point, if you can find one. Like there's a handful of them made. The chances of ever finding another one are next to none. So the bottom board was just their standard System 32 board.
32,
it was the same one Spider-Man used in a bunch of games. And it's like, I have this broken board that can either literally go sit on my shelf, and this game that everybody loves playing can just remain dark, or I can put this ROM board on this same exact hardware. Which, if I sent it to Sega 20 years ago, that's what they would have done. They'd been like, grab me a new working System 32 board, and this is the Sonic board that we send back.
And if you're working on your car yourself, or you send it to the mechanic, guess what the mechanic's going to do?
They're going to put a new muffler on it.
Put new parts in it. They're not going to fix your old ones.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm fine with, as long as it's real hardware. Like, I'm fine with the sticks can change. Like, if the blaster stick breaks, what'll happen?
Tron stick, possibly.
I'd probably have that. I'd probably buy the one for $500 and have it cast and remade. I've already been talking with somebody about having it cast in aluminum, just a better solid design.
I like Scott's comment. Rechipping plays original equals as good as the original. Like, so Dexter plays just like the original, but that's...
Dexter was very difficult for me to start using.
It was. You were like gritting your teeth, like
I was. It's an inevitable.
Yeah.
Like
it plays exactly the same though.
It does.
Yeah,
and it's
one
reliable. Of those, it was literally the laser discs all started going down. Us versus Them went down. Interstellar went down.
Right.
Time Traveler was down. Dragon's Lair and Dragon's Lair 2 and Space Ace were all down. And it's like, wow, that's every Laserdisc game.
Right. They're almost made to fail.
Well, it's how it goes.
Inevitable.
It's inevitability.
Actually, all these games, if you think about it, I mean,
but those
they were meant to be quarter eaters.
Have much shorter fuses.
They're meant for you to buy new boards in a year or two, also.
Yeah.
But the Laserdisc, the Laserdiscs are there's no rubber stop, like the rubber grommets that wear out, the springs, the lenses. It's like Naomi's. Like, there's 1,000 failure points. Like, when a Naomi fails, I don't go buy a whole new the new kit for the same game. I just go get any Naomi and put it in there.
Naomi's basically Dreamcast, right?
Yes.
Kind of the same.
Based on the same hardware.
It was
Zombie Revenge.
Right. Whatever's cheap. Buy a Zombie's Revenge, take the Naomi out, put it in there. Same thing with, like, that is...
Oh, see. Played Dragon's Lair 2 yesterday.
Oh, is that Mark Schultz? I don't know. He was here yesterday.
Mark
Maybe
SC.
It was.
Mark SC.
It probably is.
585.
Yeah, Dragon's Lair, amazing game. I think that's still on...
That's Dexter.
That one is Dexter, yes.
Yeah, I remember seeing it because you got it
PS3 way back in the day, right?
Well, we build that as Dragon's Lair HD.
Okay.
So
we didn't try to pass it off.
Yeah, that was never
right. Well, I'm not
meant to
insinuating. I'm just saying that was ran on the PS3.
Oh, it is Mark Schultz. He had a great Galaga game here yesterday. 600 over 600K Galaga game.
Yesterday was the
awesome.
35th birthday.
I don't know. How long did it take you, Mark?
Yeah. Hey, Mark, how long did that Galaga game take you?
6 hours.
An hour per 100,000.
Is that what it is?
No, it's not quite that long.
Somebody also talked about applying here. You guys are hiring Snigglesworth.
Yes, we have to.
Yeah. With a name like Snigglesworth, how could you go wrong?
I'll look for his application on the
yeah.
Shoot us a resume.
Not even
almost
an hour.
An hour.
Not even an hour.
Oh, that's pretty good. Good pace.
That's quick.
For 600,000, yeah.
So we had.
I only got 3,000 on my average game. So,
yeah. It's definitely, I think, going to be.
He's the guy. Jeremy Fox is the guy to get you that cabinet.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We build brand new ones though.
If there's
I'm gonna throw that in this conversation. Our cabinets are new.
Yeah, they're not taking an old one and. Yeah, not
but
like
they have artwork and they look great. Like there's
actually the Galaga and the Burger Time are spot on. Obviously, on our missed pack and our pack, we went quarter size art because the consumer doesn't want to pay the extra $200
for the
full
cabinet.
art.
Yeah.
If they do, we put it on, but
But
as an average person doesn't.
sure, and I think that ultimately is one of those that kind of sums up the whole thing. And it's always going to be to each their own.
Right.
Sure.
Like, but I don't know. We do get billed often as a museum-esque place over there, which is just kind of what has had me have this whole thing come up, which of what to do with Star Rider.
No, I think
Man,
you know what?
I'd hate to see it go because
Yeah, the choices are.
one will show up the second that goes, and it'll be all the good parts will be on it.
But even
The
still,
cab will
like
be rotten or
even
something.
with good parts,
It's still
it's
Laserdisc game.
well, putting on. There's a good part on that one right now.
A good Laserdisc?
Well, the Laserdisc is
It's
fine.
working,
like
yeah.
the game works. It will work 100% when we're done with the boards.
But put on the floor for was it 13 hours a day?
No,
Right.
it'll last 3 hours.
It won't last.
Yeah.
And you said Dexter doesn't.
It's not even the
support it?
Laserdisc. It is strictly the steering that I'm concerned about. Like they were saying, the guys that
crazy.
make Dexter, I've been in touch with them. They're saying that they might do a Dexter in 2017 for Star Rider. They're close to it. They have a few things that they want to work out in it. It's not a big deal. There will be, as long as there's another version of Dexter, Star Rider will be in there.
Well, let's go even further. You put it out on the floor. It lasts maybe a week. Okay. Then what?
Well, then, if it didn't work, if it did get broken
If
so quickly,
and I'm talking the
Steering.
throttle and stuff, steering.
right,
Okay.
it's broken,
Then what?
then we would have to spend X amount of time trying to come up with a fix for it.
And
Under pressure.
Under pressure. That's
Well,
the only way we do anything
this is-
here.
Of course, then people
It's-
are coming in and going, "Oh, I came just to play."
It's exactly what happened
Yeah.
with Galaxy Force. People would see it there right by the
Right.
counter. They want to get on it.
Sure.
It's
You had to
tempting,
knock them off the machine.
because it's different.
now, as a business owner,
Yeah.
do you think?
I think it looks bad.
I gotta go back to that. You know?
Sure.
Is as a business owner, are you afraid that somebody comes in to play Galaxy Force or whatever, and it just happens to be down for maybe you guys are going to fix it that day, and Seth's making his rounds to it, or you're making your rounds? Do you think that they'll turn around and just say, "Well, I went there to play this; it was broken. I don't know if I'm going to come back."
And if we have
And they'll bash us on Yelp.
that,
No, I you get what I'm trying to
I
say.
know.
there's
though, right?
I know.
always going to be games down here. We've gotten close to 100% up a few times, and
Right.
actually, it's an obtainable goal here. 541
Wow.
games, 47 games now.
That's great.
547 games,
Yeah.
all running at once. Pretty big feat.
Yeah.
Will
no,
it last
absolutely.
long? No.
Yeah.
But
And there's something attractive to human nature about the out of order sign that draws you to that and says, "I really wanted to play that," and it's simply because you can't.
Yeah.
But
Totally.
absolutely.
It's like human nature, man.
It
for sure.
totally is. You see something behind glass that you can't touch, you want to touch it.
But
I know all about that.
even as far as being the business owner side of it is that sparks a conversation. Like, when is this going to be fixed? Oh, well, let me tell you about that.
When are you going to be back?
So light that fuse and let me know how long I have before you'll be back, so we'll have it fixed for the next time. And it's, people get it. Like, we don't.
Right.
There's games down, and people aren't blowing us up on Yelp for games
Which
being
they
down.
which they shouldn't. I mean,
It's the nature of an arcade. Like,
Right.
you go to any arcade and anything like 10%,
That's good.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Any
Right,
arcade that
right.
has less than 10% down is doing a great job. And that's just how it is. Like, people do need to understand that with an arcade.
We've done some arcades that have one main power switch, and they only turn it on when they see people walking in. There was
Oh,
actually people that did that. I'm not gonna say who.
Like a main,
are they even still around?
they throw the wall.
They're not still around. No.
No.
Oh, maybe that's why.
I think I know who you're talking
They
about.
went the way of the Planet of the Apes.
They rule us all.
They loathe,
No.
they loathe bananas.
Well, Doc,
Sounds like you got some soul searching to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
soul searching, man.
Well, I guess we'll wrap it up on that point unless anybody else has.
Wait.
Well, yeah, what's been going on around the arcade?
Yeah. Let's do
You
that. Let's
wanna-
go around the horn and see what everyone's
Sure,
been playing
sure.
first.
Yeah. I haven't been here in a while, so I'm interested actually, literally, I see on Facebook, but what's anything new, anything coming up? I know Combat Con.
Combat Con is coming up. More up in front of that is the T20.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Which,
you're gonna be at that, aren't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Battle for not last place. That's my goal, is not last place. So,
I'm gonna go for last place.
yeah, if you enter it, Jeremy,
I'll
I think,
totally get last
yeah,
place.
you can, yeah, that'd be cool. But,
We will have
T20's fun.
Right.
We are going to be in a separate building down the street for it.
It's kind of across from
contain-
Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a block away.
Yeah.
Block
So
or two
very-
away.
I think I'm familiar if
Yeah.
this is where.
Not storage.
Oh, okay.
Different building. Yet another building.
This guy.
It's on this side of the road.
Yeah. It's
Oh, okay.
within walking distance. So that we are very excited for T20. Make sure everybody looks it up on Facebook. It's I believe $50 to register for all 4 days,
4 days.
4
Yeah.
days.
20 games.
And that's including access to the arcade
Yes.
also.
Yes.
So,
Have you announced the game shop?
We
We
will
don't
not.
announce that until the day of.
Oh.
And there will be a secondary tournament, and everybody will be vying for the T20 belt. And
It's in the case right now. If you want
yeah,
to salivate over it,
I want to touch it. Try and touch it.
it's behind glass. You can't
it's
touch it.
behind.
It'll zap you.
We've seen James White face pressed up against
Yeah.
that glass. He wants it.
He's
could tell.
a runner for it. I bet
Sure he
you.
is.
Tibbetts-
I heard
Tibbetts
that
will be up there.
Zerst
Pete Gores.
last year's champ already pre-registered.
Oh,
Yeah.
Zerst. Yeah. Okay.
Some
And
great
he's not
players
local,
coming in.
right?
He's in Wisconsin, I believe.
Okay, so yeah, not bad.
Yeah,
Maybe the people from Canada will come back down again.
they are registered.
Yeah, I know Joel Hedge he's from the East Coast.
Ooh,
Martin
money's on
Bedard.
Gortz or James
Yeah.
White.
He had said,
You think a local player will win? Or you think an out of towner will win?
I think I think Zerst.
I think Tim Foley.
No. I'll win best looking. Do we have a best looking
There is a best looking.
Cabinet.
That's pretty good.
yeah.
Confidence.
Yeah, so that's gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah, I cannot wait for that.
And then so T20, Combat Con.
Combat Con over at the Max. You can register
the
for
Max. Is Zach and Screech gonna be there?
Screech playing.
Isn't that where the
Scramble
Max
or something?
The Max Saved by the Bell, isn't that where they hung out?
Doc didn't watch TV. It's a show.
I think I'm missing a key reference here.
No, it's
It's a TV
Pop-
show.
TV show.
Didn't he just get arrested for stabbing somebody again?
Yeah.
Again?
Yeah, again. Like,
He's
So
a stabber.
would you recommend that
we're supposed to be witnesses.
for those not familiar with the Max, is there parking available? Is it a
Yeah, it should be adequate parking for everything, and
and you're doing a shuttle from the arcade also?
We will be doing a shuttle. We will be announcing the full guest list very soon. So far,
Wow.
we've only announced officially Daniel Pesina, who's Johnny Cage, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Reptile, and Philip On, who's Shang Tsung.
Who can morph into all the rest of them, so we don't need anyone else.
Sure.
Yeah.
There'll be probably 10 to a dozen more
Are they still in Argentina?
celebrities there. So it will be absolutely amazing.
Rock stars out
Okay.
there.
Yeah.
Now, would you recommend that
They're like kings out there.
It's awesome.
people pre-register? I mean,
Definitely.
is there like a capacity for this thing?
Only for the
Because
VIP
it's getting-
passes.
it's
For
getting
the
pretty
VIP,
huge.
there
Yeah.
will be 50 VIP.
Do we know how many are
tickets.
taken?
I don't know off the top of my head. There are still a few left.
Okay.
You can register at combatcon.com. It's $100 for the VIP tickets, and I think $40 for the regular. That gets you into the show, not the arcade though. It gets you the autograph pages, the VIP stuff. We're doing breakfast with of Champions where you get to have breakfast with all the MK
Michael
actors.
Phelps.
And then the after party, which is going to be
Caitlin.
absolutely
Is it at
insane.
Brixie's? Where's that?
Bruce Jenner.
We'll probably be at Brixie's.
Okay.
But
Scott wants a shuttle and the Firebird to the Combat Con. One person at a time.
one person at a time. It'll be awesome. Definitely don't miss those.
Right.
Uh-huh. And that is
It's gonna be this November.
That's November 19th and 20th.
that's gonna be
And T20 is October 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Right.
So that should be, both of them should be really amazing. So
And as a
the test drive.
casual score chaser, which I've been deemed, I encourage, if anybody's watching this who's never been in a tournament before, sign up. I'm like staring at the microphone, but sign up.
Should I zoom in on you?
Fat.
Even if you think you're gonna finish last, that's what I did last year. That's what got me into scoring and all that type of stuff, and hanging out at the arcade, playing tons of games, and just having a good time. So
You
even
get a
if
T-shirt.
I don't
do?
know if you get that this year,
You
you don't.
You don't get the T-shirt.
but still, it's you sign up, you get to hang out. I mean,
it's a fun time for sure.
yeah, it's just a fun time. So even if you've just never done that type of thing before,
That was Swamp
There-
last year too.
There'll
huh?
definitely be
Right.
some new games. I might bring some games out of the vault, so people might see some new stuff that you won't get a chance to play for a while. So
Yeah.
should
Like
be
a
really
Disney
cool.
Release and they put it back in.
right there you go. Jeremy, what's up with the? How's your everything
The
looking?
hunting,
The hunting.
good. Everything is
Good
good.
hunting.
We're gearing up for
Goodwill Hunting.
Goodwill Hunting. It's a great movie. We're getting ready for winter.
You sell a lot of
Things are
cabinets during holidays?
We do. November 1st to the beginning of January is pretty much backed up. Christmas orders are nuts. Every year they're heavier, So the guys are actually in the wood shop now starting.
The elves?
The Prince Elves are working on the cabinets already. And yeah, I think they got 12 done already. Something like that this week.
Nice.
Right.
So, and then we got some other projects to cut for people, and yeah, we got to get about 100 ready.
Right. Well, what's nice about your cabs is, they're new, so you don't have to deal with, as Doc probably knows, is sometimes and you know too.
Yeah.
You get some cabs and you open them up, and it's just like there's mold in there. There's a couple dead animals. I found chicken bones in the back of a cabinet. I don't know.
Wait,
Doc,
from a chicken that died in there, or someone that ate a piece
no,
of chicken?
somebody ate chicken wings
And
and
threw the
either
wings
was
in there?
working on the game or maybe a mouse brought them in.
The mouse
the
killed
whole-
a chicken?
The whole cabinet had chicken bones on the bottom of it.
I'm gonna go with the
Okay.
technician working on it and then throwing them in there. And be like,
Yeah. I'm sure Doc's maybe found some
That's a
weird
big
stuff
mouse.
I
in the
have.
back.
this is
I have.
easier than throwing them in that bag.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
good. We've had a lot of great games this year come and go.
I know you're talking. We're talking about a rare game. Anything rare coming down the line that people should keep an eye out for? I mean,
There's a couple.
that isn't coming here.
They should follow you on Facebook so they find out.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
should.
definitely follow on.
on Prince Arcades on Facebook. There is a couple raids, if you will, coming up within the next month. So details are sketchy to me even, so it's hard to
Right.
Enigma 2, I don't know what that is.
That's a game that came out by Game Plan. They were in Addison, Illinois. I did see that at the expo, yes, and I had a cabinet for 2 years and I couldn't find a board for it. Ended up selling it. That's too bad. It's like Galaga. It's really the same. It's a clone almost.
Do all Combat Con VIP badges come with
Quigley's picture.
on them?
I saw that.
I seen
I
that
saw
on
that. It was
Facebook
good.
too.
Yeah.
I hope they have his picture.
Big ups to Sean C. Quigley if you're watching. Hope everything is good.
Glad you have your picture on the badges.
Yeah, right.
He is the only
So
VIP.
what's the final decision, Doc? Or is this just a wait and see? Keep up with Galloping Ghost
Yeah.
Arcade and just kind of.
we'll just keep an eye out for it if it rolls out on a.
So is
Mystery Monday next
Yeah.
week.
is the
Maybe.
game working though? The actual.
I've got one or two more board issues that I have to fix.
Okay.
So,
And
it's
so when it's all said and done, you have the cockpit, you have 2 steering assemblies, or you haven't bought the other one.
no, I have it.
Okay, I was gonna say, yeah, you're putting that on eBay right now, and somebody's going, oh, what we got
Let's
here?
drive
Yeah,
that up.
right.
It's double by the end.
Yeah,
of the hour.
right. Oh, Doc needs one of these. Yoink.
It's such a great looking cabinet.
Right.
What
Yeah.
a neat cabinet. So creative, you know.
So, I mean,
Well, we will definitely. And again, what the final decision, even if it does roll out there, who knows how long it'll be able to last until.
it's that fragile. Do you think?
The inevitable. Yeah.
Do you think so? Sorry to bring this up again. Do you think that normal
Eventually, normal wear and tear. will break
wear
it.
and tear?
Oh,
will
eventually,
break
you'll
it?
get it. Unless every player is super on top of it.
Well, yeah.
Like a collector, they'd probably be able to,
Right.
maybe, if it wasn't played often.
Just like barely touch it.
Yeah,
Feather it.
yeah.
Just for a minute.
Well,
I'm gonna turn back off.
That's kind of no fun though, and that's what the whole point is, right?
Yeah, well,
in the end,
Sure.
the whole point is not
You
to beat
has
on the machines, but is to
You got to play them.
play them
For sure, for sure.
Something like a cockpit style game seems like somebody would be like, "Yeah, I'm the Star Rider." You know, I heard that says.
Well, maybe.
What was that
Star
movie?
Rider.
What was that movie? Was that Star Rider?
No, Guardians of the Galaxy. You heard of Star Lord?
Oh,
No.
Last Starfighter,
Last Star.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
which is also kind of
That's
a weird,
great movie, dude.
which is a kind of a game too.
Is that a real game or not?
It was, I believe
The
there's
Last
one
Starfighter?
out there. It was
No,
made for
well,
the movie.
I heard that some company released the actual game, and there's people out there who have built cabinets for it with the joysticks and everything.
Really?
And I think you might know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was a really deep cabinet, even though it's a stand up, right? Like
Yeah, I think
3 feet deep or something
Yeah.
crazy.
guy's kind of in our area, basically.
Yeah.
Is there any? Do you think that'll ever make its way here? Not that particular one, but
I can't ever say what's going to end up here
Yeah.
at this point.
because Last Starfighter is pretty rad.
Sure.
You know, gotta admit, when you're a kid, you're playing a video game and you get recruited by, you know, outer
To
space
jump in.
to jump into the game and defend because you're so good at a game. You know,
Are you going to get a skee ball?
No.
Looks like Jen
Next
wants to know.
question.
Looks like I'll have to
think
get a
you-
skee ball.
yeah, I think-
she's been saying that for years. man.
People have been asking about air hockey.
Yeah.
You need
No.
to keep one of these games one of these days.
I
You're gonna have
a
to.
skee ball right up along inside the garage would be
Right
fine,
next to a
yeah.
mission craft.
Oh yeah, I love Mission Craft. I do.
Is this an inside joke or no?
No,
it's a shmup, but I do.
It's easy to get into though. It's a fun
It's
one.
great, and the music
Yeah, it's good.
from what's that?
StarCraft.
StarCraft. Yeah.
Starcraft. And I never played one computer game ever. I never tried one.
You don't have to.
The music is great.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, I'll
Well.
get a skee ball, I guess. They do
Can I
pop
come
up.
play it?
Yeah,
Okay. How much?
quarter.
Quarter a
Get
throw.
Good Chuck E. Cheese ones or something. One of the old style, not the
With the wooden
not
balls.
The new ones made by ice. Yeah.
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 The new ones have the
Old.
plastic balls. Yeah.
When are you gonna put Chase HQ on the floor?
Keep watching.
What
Monday
about
Mystery
Guardians?
Games.
Guardians of the Hood.
Guardians of the Hood.
Yeah.
What about? Wait, I got one for you.
Pit Fighter 2.
Is there a Pit Fighter 2?
It's
Is
Guardians
that
of
what
the
Guardians
Hood.
of the Hood is?
Well,
No.
people say it's a successor.
It's a
It is.
fighter or a beat 'em up?
Oh.
It's a side-scrolling beat 'em up that was done by the same team. It's
But is it
within-
Kato and Ty and
No,
Old style for sure.
Okay.
but
Is it like digitized graphics?
Yes.
Yes.
it's very similar.
Is this a rarity or is this?
I see
little bit.
Guardians of the
It's-
Hood pop up from time to time, but I never chased it at all. It's kind of
We've
Because
got
that
it.
sounds pretty cool.
you have
It does.
A glimpse into the vaults. We do have the Guardians of the Hood board,
Guardians of the Ghost.
Wow.
but
Huh.
we'll see. Are you coming out for Monday Mystery Game this week? I know you normally don't make it.
Well, yeah.
maybe if it's Guardians of the Hood.
Yeah. No. Unfortunately, I work, and by the time I get here, traveling down 55, it'd just be
Too
you know.
much.
I did come out maybe once or twice, and it took me an hour and a half to get
Yeah.
here. Which
I remember
is
you came
normally-
out once when it was like super snowy too.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
one was pretty crazy too. But yeah, what normally turned into a half-hour ride was like hour and a half white knuckle, like you know,
It's getting worse.
Dragula death ride.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
many people here.
um, but yeah, Guardians of the Hood. Wow.
That's a,
What the
Maybe you should play it on
obscurities
May
that
when
we
you get home.
have, the obscurities
I don't
that
do
we
that.
have in the
I
vaults
don't,
are
I don't either.
once the next
Kinda
expansion happens, and the floodgates of 120 games come out.
And you lose your mind. You lose your shit.
It'll-
Just
Beep.
Censor.
It's the censor again.
No, that'll be
It'll be fun.
that'll be very soothing to have all of those out.
Plus,
And
we
I
get to
won't have
spread out. We get space. Spread out the games we have a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, there'll be plenty of room for everything.
We should do the
But-
swap meet at the Max. That's a good idea.
What's that?
The swap meet
Yeah, Dan.
We might do that down the street, and we might do it
soon.
soon.
Oh, that's a good idea.
I-
Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Stay
I can't.
tuned.
I probably shouldn't bring it up, but since I'm here,
There's a mic.
Before you ask this, let's put it out there because we're going to be wrapping this up. We will take any questions from the Twitch chat. So ask your questions now.
We will see them in like 30
But Tim
seconds.
Foley, what?
no.
No, throw it out there. Throw it out there.
I can't really throw it out there because it's not my place. But remember, we had talked a while back about that other building, one of the other buildings. Is that still a thought? A couple things maybe coming down the pipe. Can you do anything like? Can you say anything about?
What, about what? Stuff you can't say on the air?
Well, is there
Camera's
anything
right
you'd
on
like to
you.
share about them other buildings, maybe?
Which buildings are you referring to? The storage?
No, the one with the storefronts that you were. Is that the
That's the
storage?
same thing.
Yeah,
That's
but
all the same.
Remember, we
building.
were kind of talking about maybe you doing some kind of.
Oh yeah, not yet.
Okay.
That's still in the mix, but not forefront. plans.
Okay. I think that'd be awesome. Just saying.
Fair enough.
It'd be
Fair
awesome.
enough.
Just tell Doc you want an awesome thing to happen. If
There's
No.
been
Doc, I want
new-
an awesome thing to happen.
there, former Gamer of the Year, Pete Hahn. He wants awesome. Pete Gores.
awesome things
Tell
will
Doc
be happening.
Instead of a
Star
new
Rider.
instead of a
driving
new-
down the street.
yeah, instead of a new game, instead of a pick of a game, you want something awesome to happen.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of awesome things
Well, a lot
milling
of
about.
awesome things, but I'm just biased because I think that'd be rad. But What's up
But
to Twitch?
Dan Icavelli, plans for the swap meet, not necessarily at the Max, but coming up, we're going to have news about the swap meet
Yes,
soon.
yes. Stay
Good.
tuned for.
Check Facebook. Stay tuned.
We've
like you
the
always are.
newest development has made things interesting.
Because
So-
they have a whole bunch of crap for that swap meet, dude.
Wait, is it crap or is it good?
is it good stuff or
Well, I
crap?
say that meaning, just like piles of boards over here and
Yeah.
control
Yeah.
panels.
I've
Not crap.
got some stuff. I've got some stuff too. Although there's been a couple of things that I kind of had stockpiled away that I kind of gave to other people to help them out with some games. But
That's
I
usually
do.
what ends up
Yeah.
happening to parts,
Yeah, I mean, there's been a couple times where I've had, something. Oh, I need this board, and I just happen to have one, and it's cool because that's what I'm about. I want to help people,
Oh, it's Eddie.
Same ghost time.
Isn't there an Eddie in
Is the
Pit
worst
Fighter?
yet to come. What?
All right.
Uh-oh.
Well, it does appear to
Oh,
be a
never
good time
mind.
to wrap up.
Okay.
So, unless there's Pete, do you have anything else?
No. Not really.
No.
What have you been playing?
Yeah, real quick.
Pit Fighter,
do
go ahead.
Yeah.
I've been on Timber and Turkey Shoot and
Turkey Shoot.
I saw you
Yeah.
playing Combat Tribes the other day.
So
some
fun.
Combat Tribes. Yeah,
Did
I've
you
been
play it?
around.
Yeah, Turkey Shoot I like. Yeah,
It's so great.
it makes me angry, but I'm nice to the game.
So,
like, you guys out there.
what are you playing tonight?
Okay, well, I haven't been to the arcade lately,
Oh.
which sucks. But T20, I'm here all 4 days.
Awesome.
I might just sleep out on the sidewalk. So, or go sit at Tony's and buy cups of coffee over and over again. Wait till you guys open. But actually, at home, I've been playing a lot.
Yeah.
I just picked up Chase HQ, one of my favorites from back in the day. It's kind of a cheesy game, 1980s-ish. Crash into cars, and you're a cop car, and you have to crash.
You know the
into
cops in
someone.
that game are the same cops from Crime City.
Really?
It's the same universe. It's Taito, right?
Yeah.
It's the same universe
So-
as Crime City.
I've been playing that. A lot of Neo Geo, Magician Lord, stuff like that, and then Centipede. Just that type of stuff.
How many games do you have in your collection? 15, 20?
About 14 or 15.
I'm trying-
But
You gonna open it? Are you opening soon?
Joliet. New Joliet.
let's not go there.
No.
Doc knows about that.
Sure. And we have something we'll discuss later, though. But
Right.
Pete, what are you playing tonight?
If I have time, a game of Polestar. The game takes a while. If I can sneak a game in or two of Pit Fighter, I will. Those
Cool.
are two lately.
You playing anything?
Yeah. I'll probably go play Mission Craft because I don't have one right now.
Nice. Well, I guess that about wraps us up for tonight. We thank everybody for their questions and for joining us. And please weigh in on Facebook on this topic, and we'll make a thread about it on there. And hope to hear everybody else's opinion. But for Tim Foley, Jeremy Fox of
Thank
Prince
you.
Arcades, go like him on Facebook. And the former Gamer of the Year, Pete Hahn.
I'm hiding off camera.
Hiding off camera.
Like me on
Thanks,
Facebook too.
Like Tim Foley on
I don't-
Facebook.
Do you have a fan
Really?
page?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody want to start a fan page out there? You got my blessing.
And then Will
Well-
County Arcade.
Yeah.
Page, right?
Anybody
I
who
mean-
lives in Will County
Yeah.
or Cook County or surrounding counties,
Join
there's
the
a Facebook
group.
page, Will County Arcade Collectors.
Tim
Yeah.
Foley has no friends.
Yeah.
How
Span-
Who said
dare
that?
you. How dare you?
Oh, that's Mike Beal right there. That's I figured.
I can't
I
even
have
see
no
his
friends.
name. It's so bright.
Yeah. Okay, I thought it was Spanos, but Spanos is my boy. I thought me and Mike were cool, but that's all right.
Well, thanks, everybody. This is Doc Mack from the Galloping Ghost Arcade, and we hope to see you around the arcade soon. Thanks, everybody.